Hello, and welcome to something a little different. This is demo day, and in perusing demos and things I wanted to try, I saw a lot for, various things that were related to things that I've played before, farming sims, that sort of thing. None of them really caught my attention at the moment. I wanted something different. I wanted something I don't usually play, but that seemed interesting, at least at first glance. And I landed on this. This is the demo for Shape of Dreams, and it is a kind of roguelite with apparently MOBA-inspired action and combat. Now, I don't play MOBA games, so that was already something a little different. The artwork for this was beautiful. It was intriguing for that. It's kind of got a fantasy theme. I have already, just to make sure it was something that wasn't going to be completely disinteresting, I already went through the tutorial, and I have done a couple of runs. Just enough to basically unlock 2 more characters from this first one. And I think that's enough to kind of go, okay, yeah, let's go ahead and share this one. It's interesting. Not super up my alley, but interesting. So, these are the characters I currently have. This is, I'm going to mispronounce, Lacerta. He is gun, long range, fire based. Mist, ice, short range. And Ubar, whose element is light. There's 4 elements. They are fire and ice, and then light, and it seems dark, at least as far as I can tell, and as far as the demo goes. Kind of a range magic floats around. Now, this is not exactly narrative heavy, and you'll see when we kind of get in there. So I'm just going to go ahead and take Mr. Gun, Mr. Very relatively easy gameplay Gun, and I'm just going to go in there and show kind of how it seems to go. So we're going to go ahead and select this guy, and we're going to go ahead and give us a start. So the conceit of this game is that dreams and nightmares have become reality, or at least are encroaching upon it. You can get into this nebulous realm in between and pursue your own goals there. Every character apparently has their own reason to go in. And it is very simple little, like, point and click sort of attacks. Now, there are 2 control schemes, just flat out, and it asks you very at the very beginning, do you prefer, or are you more used to MOBA style where you click to move? Here's the control scheme for that. Or are you more used to WASD? I picked WASD because I am more accustomed to it. Alright, so before we go into this, I do need to bring up one more thing. As far as I know or can tell, I didn't find a arachnophobe setting. It might be in there. The main enemies in this first area include a lot of spiders. And so if you are a little bit arachnophobic, you might want to look away and come back to this, or just do pure audio for a while and come back to this once I say I'm in the new area and the spideys are gone. So, with that said, warning given. This right now, still safe to look for anybody who doesn't like spiders, is the overall map. This is how you get around. You start here at the red circle. You want to get to this exit point, and you can only go to areas that are directly connected by lines. There are major enemies called hunters that start from a certain location and will slowly move across nodes towards you, so spending too long close to them can mean more difficult times. I have generally avoided them. Certain areas have special resources. Shrine of Guidance will heal you for gold. Powerful forces and ominous presences tend to be buffs that you can get. There's a well that upgrades abilities, but I don't have very much of the currency thing that it takes to do that. It's down here called Dream Dust. So, broadly speaking, what we want is to kind of make our way that way. However, we have a little time before the hunters start moving, so let's go ahead and see what the ominous presence is all about. Here we go. We're traveling. Alright, it is time to mind the spiders. The presence of a powerful monster can be felt here, so we're gonna want to move through this area and basically do our best to not get overrun too much. This guy can just kind of keep moving around in circles and avoid most stuff. Alright, we're gonna want to get rid of these obstructions because they get us dream dust. And the more resources we have, the better. Alright, there we go. There's the big guy. There's big AoEs that you want to avoid. And broadly speaking, you don't want to get caught too close to things. There we go. Alright, so that gives us chaos. And that gives some buffs. You can pick one of these, increase memory haste, that basically is your cooldown going down, attack damage, or attack speed. I think I want to go attack speed. Let's be fast. Alright, so with that, we have already gone to this place. That was our starting point. That's why it's got a green check mark on the map. There's a well here. I still can't afford to... I could afford to upgrade one thing, to be fair. I have 64, and I think the first upgrade is like 40, maybe 50. However, that would back us a little bit into a corner, and we'd probably have to go around a long way, and that could have the hunters catch up. There will be other wells at other times. So, I kind of want to go, you know what? Actually, let's go for it. Let's go for it. Let's go around and hope for the best. If a run ends early, a run ends early. Alright, so that gets us a couple of things. Number one, we have access to a memory remnant. That's going to give us a random ability called Memory. That is Ice Shield, melee cold damage, ally shield, restoration. So let's go ahead and equip that just because it's one of the first things we have. We can swap them out and change them later. Oh, I like that it has a little bit of health. Yeah, okay. Okay, so we can upgrade something for 40 of the Dream Dust. We have 64, so I'm probably going to go ahead and upgrade the hand cannon. It is a relatively fast cooldown, and it is just my right click, so I use it more often than anything else that I kind of have to reach for. To be fair, this base thing called an identity memory that kind of upgrades your general abilities is also pretty good to have, just because it is a passive thing that always kind of goes into effect. However, I do think I'm just going to go with the hand cannon. We'll get the passive one later. I feel like the controls in this are fairly intuitive, and part of that might be just because they will allow you to pick the control scheme that you're most used to. However, everything kind of goes very smoothly in terms of just, you know, selecting things, backing out of things. If you move away from the well, you don't have to deselect it. You just move away and it diminishes your HUD below that had been expanded by going into it. All in all, it's a relatively smooth experience in terms of, in terms of what it does. All of the elements seem to fit together really well. Also, I just really appreciate the little bit of effort of going, hey, on the get-go, we have 2 preset control schemes. Which one seems closer to what you like to use? It's not a huge thing, but it is a nice thing to have. Alright, we need to get a concept remnant. That is going to give us something that is going to buff one of our abilities. So I got something rare. Flawed Essence of Contempt. Damage dealt by this memory increases as the target's health gets lower, up to 57% increase when their health is 20%. That is pretty nice. Let's go ahead and put it on our, the one that I use the most. That tends to be how I tend to make those decisions. So, we're moving along. And really it's, the one thing is that a lot of this is much the same until you get to the final boss of the region. The actual combat is really just running around in circles and hoping that your abilities go off. Or you remember to use your abilities, in my case. being said, it's still not a bad thing to have a simple gameplay loop. It makes it very easy to kind of get into the flow and continue it. Alright, let's see. Next two attacks are faster and enhanced. Additional cold damage. Interesting. And a shield. Alright. Let's see if I actually remember to use that sometimes. I am not great at actually making use of every single ability on cooldown, so I'm not exactly maximizing anything. Somebody with particular skill is probably going absolutely insane. Another thing I do like about this game in particular is that the visuals are very beautiful. If you take the time to kind of look around, they've got very distinct color schemes and looks for each region. And visually, it's both detailed enough to be interesting, but not so detailed that it becomes overwhelming. Everything is relatively easy and clear to read. Enemies are distinct from the background, your character is distinct as well, but it's worth looking at. Come on guys, line up, I want you in a cone. There we go. They had a very clear visual style that they wanted to go for. Alright, a wave of hatred. That is a curse and boon effect, effectively. So we can do indifference, which is minor rewards with no curse. Mild, random mild curse, and a basic reward. Or potent, potent curse, and substantial rewards. Last time I did one of these, I ended up with one at random that was just, I lost gold every time I took a hit. However, it runs out at a point, and you're left with the rewards. So let's get potent, and let's see what happens. So, when taking damage, I lose some of my current dream dust. That is potentially going to be a problem, and it gets lifted after defeating 27 monsters, which does go fairly quickly. That's potentially going to be a problem because that's my upgrade stuff. That being said, let's get to the well and hope we have some left after we mow down everything in the way. Oh, good. Alright, so I have to not take hits, if at all possible. Alright, I took a hit. We managed to make it through with enough dream dust. We can go ahead and do 2 upgrades if we do the 40s. So let's upgrade that. And let's go ahead and upgrade Frostbite if I remember to do it a bit. There we go. And that way we don't have to worry too much about losing a load of dream dust on the next thing. So there's trade with a merchant. I have a ton of gold, and so that's probably pretty good. Let's go for it. So this is a non-combat area. This is just a merchant. You go over, you buy and sell things. You can sell some of the memories that you have if you buy something better and want to equip that instead. So, let's see what we have. We have Searing Charge. Slash through enemies with a flaming sword, and damage and range increase proportionally to movement speed. If enemy is killed by this damage, cooldown is reset. That one's epic. That one's a little bit more expensive. Backstep sets bombs when you leap backwards. Starfall puts stars near random enemies. We can get Essence. So basic attacks go to dark damage, and when it deals damage to an enemy with more dark stacks, they are consumed to deal damage. Okay, yeah. Essence of Void is exploding attacks. Chipped Essence of Talc is every 10 seconds cast is empowered, so it just gets better. Alright. I think Searing Charge sounds kind of fun. I haven't played with it before. I might replace Ice Shield. I never remembered Shield. So, let's go ahead and sell Ice Shield, and let's pick that. And I can afford one more thing. So, I cannot afford the Essence of Twilight without selling something else, and I don't want to sell anything else, to be quite honest. Let's go ahead and enhance this. Let's get Empowerment. Okay, so we can leave that, and then we just equip. And let's equip that here. In we go. So there's another merchant here, which unfortunately is not useful to us because we're out of gold. However, we could potentially get gold by going here. Let's see what happens. There's an ominous presence, and my character has just... not my character in-game, but, yeah, Larkspur has stopped moving. My curse is cleared. Alright, okay. Q is interesting. If you time that so that you're kind of dashing through just as something is about to die, then yeah, it's pretty good. Alright, I fixed it. Larkspur is no longer frozen. Ooh, we've got a big Spidey. That's not good. Oh, it's doing bullet hell. Could not stop me. Let's get some chaos. So, ability, power, attack speed. Let's go attack speed again. Why not? We're going zippy. We're going fast. I'd love to find a way to get movement speed. Okay, so I've got more gold. Let's go for the merchant. And then we'll go for the boss. Alright, what have you got for me? I am most interested in the essences at this point. So we can do dark damage, we can do convert to fire damage, and fire damage over time is increased. Interesting. So I can put that on the frostbite, the ice thing, and just make it more fire damage. Just all in on fire. Oh, but the regeneration, I need that. I need the regen. Every time I need the regen. Thank you very much. Thank you. Alright. Let's get to the boss and let's see if we die. Put a little bit of gold in to heal up for the start of this. Alright, meet the first boss of this fire forest area. Belpomet, demon of the forest, fragment of an evil mind. He does bullet spawns. Nope! I got caught in that. Oh, I got caught in that badly. Always best to evade and avoid as much as possible. Just run around in circles and don't get in the stupid AoEs. Woo! Haha! Okay, we're good, we're good, we're good. Didn't manage to get the Q to kill him, but yay! And with that, we get Belpomet's soul and we can upgrade something. So, yeah, well, let's go ahead and upgrade the basics. We grab some Stardust because, quite frankly, that is going to do permanent upgrades both across characters and on individual ones. This whole thing also has this very strong theming of stars as well as dreams, so of course it's a little bit up my alley. Wherein you get Stardust for defeating bosses. You spend the Stardust on these constellation upgrade trees. I think we'll be fine, I've got a regen. On these constellation upgrade trees on the character screen in order to get more permanent buffs and upgrades on them. So we have a long way to go, and the hunters are actually starting from our current location. So that's going to be a little bit rough. Let's hope they don't catch up or box us in. Because at that point, fights are going to be difficult. So, this is the new ice area. There are no spiders here, just ice wolves and things of that nature. We should be fine. There do not seem to be any elemental resistances, as far as I've been able to tell. I don't think your ice abilities or characters are going to do any worse in this area than anything else. Oh, I hate these little ice shards. Dropping their little AoEs everywhere. They die fairly quickly, but, yeah. This is a Shrine of Disintegration. You lose some health, and you gain, I believe either the dust, or I want to say it's the dust. I want to say it's the dream dust. I've done it once. I'm not fond of losing health, to be quite honest. I have enough trouble as it is. Alright, that's the sound of area cleared. Let's see what we have for the concepts. Interesting. So this particular essence, when the memory it's attached to deals cold damage, it deals additional cold damage equal to 10% your max health and briefly stuns them. Can only trigger once every 5 seconds per enemy. Each time this triggers, permanently increase your maximum health by 1. Yes, please. It's time to use that ice arrow way more often. I want my max health up. I desperately want my max health up. Okay, so we are not going to lollygag about this area because the hunters are already on the move. And it is going to be very easy for them to cut us off. Oh no, they've already moved into that area. So hunters are entering this area, which is dangerous. That is one of the only 2 routes into this area that has the boss. I'm going to go for the merchant, which I think I might not be able to buy anything in because their prices seem to go up per area. Oh, I might be able to. That's a common memory beam of light. Healing the nearby alley with the lowest health percentage. Yeah, unfortunately, not really. I can do Quicksilver. Casting this memory or dealing fire damage with it, movement speed increases by 24%, returns to normal over 2.5 seconds. I like that. I like that. I think that I shall go ahead and take that, thank you. And it has to go on something with fire. Let's go ahead and put it on my dash forward melee thing. And see if I can actually make use of it. So, we're getting the hell out of here before the hunters block us off and make things more difficult. Now, lore-wise, this isn't really super heavy on story stuff. The narrative is not woven into the gameplay per se. It is said that each character has their reasons for being here, and each character kind of has written text, a little blurb on their main screen that you can read optionally and kind of get a feel of who they are and what they're doing here. However, it is not really woven into gameplay in the way that I personally tend to prefer games do. Nothing really is personal. You're just kind of going through, you're fighting enemies, you're facing bosses that happen to be in your way and blocking your path onwards. The tutorial makes mention of the first person to dream being the one behind the hunters, being the one that sends them to hunt down any other travelers in the rapids and destroy them. There's an implication that you're gonna want to basically get to the bottom of the whole rapids thing and fight this individual. I believe they called him Primus. However, it's not really leaned on per se. This is very basic combat-focused gameplay. You aren't exactly stopping and having cutscenes, aside from just the look at this boss, it is big. Be prepared. But for the most part, you don't have a lot really going on narratively speaking. It's not like you end a run and then you get to be in a home base talking with other characters or anything like that. It's one of the reasons why I loved Hades so much is because they did that. Frankly, Hades being the game that I played as a roguelike made a lot of sense because, generally speaking, roguelites aren't really most of my thing if they don't have a lot of forward progress. Hades kind of fixed that by having every run end be something to almost look forward to because you went back to the home base, you got to upgrade things, you got to pursue more conversations, you got to advance some character storylines and plot. And so, basically, dying on a run wasn't necessarily a failure and I've got to do all that again. It was, alright, I take everything back to home, and now I get other things there. I think that if this game had something more of that in it, I would probably be a lot more into it. If you completed your run, you died partway through, and then you go back and all of the characters are there at base, and they're having conversations, they're advancing their storylines. Maybe you took, like, Mist in, and she's got a little story blurb that's like, her sister went missing, and she's trying to investigate this, and it's tied to the rapids somehow. She thinks it was something nefarious. And It would be so interesting if you could get back to the home base and go, oh, hey, I just tried to do this run. You know, what's new with you? And Mist is like, you know, based on maybe the last run you did with her, if it progresses with each run that you do with a character, she goes, all right, I've found this lead, or, you know, this thing didn't pan out, but it brought up something else that's interesting. I would probably eat up something that kind of wove in a bit more narrative in that way. That being said, again, this is enjoyable. This is basically eye candy with very simple combat mechanics. You run around in circles, you kite the enemies. Skill? Skill? What skill? As far as I know at least. Let's go ahead and go for, ooh, we've got minor rewards without curse, potent curse, and substantial rewards, intense curse, and greater rewards. I have not seen that before. Since this is a demo, let's give it a try. Let's do something stupid. Fragility 2. Oh no, when your health is 60% below, taking damage from an enemy will execute you. 45 monsters. Oh dear. Someone's lightning on cast. That is pretty good. Cast another memory, use dodge, gain 1 stack of thunder up to 8 times. When you cast this memory, consume all stacks to bring down lightning. Once for each stack. Oh geez. Oh boy. Okay. So, I am probably going to die. Because, yeah, I've never gotten past this boss, for one thing. For another thing now, I am just going to explode if I'm below 60% health, which means this boss is probably going to go very quickly. That being said, I do have a good bit of healing, so we'll see. Alright, how many stacks of lightning do I have? Can I see that? Yeah, I've got 8. Time to use Q. Ha! That lightning just went down on him. Oh boy. He is spamming some meteors. Alright, we got a little bit of chaos. Let's activate that. Why not attack speed? Why not attack speed? We're now like 30% up on attack speed. Why not? Flawless is bleakness. Increased damage to movement impaired enemies. Cold, slow, bind, or stun. Okay. Alright. So I'm here. Boss is here. I don't think I want to go for boss while I'm inflicted with this. I need to kill 23 more enemies. I hope I can do it in these next 2 areas. Let's see how this goes. Oh, 1 more enemy and it's cleared. Let's go here and let's get rid of that curse. Excellent. I no longer have to worry about dying instantly if I'm below 60% health and get hit. Because goodness knows I get hit. It's the reason why my health abilities are so important to me. Okay, it is boss time. So, I have never gotten past this boss. The AoE spam is absolutely real. Beautiful lead up to it, though. Look at this bridge. Here's the arena. And here is the boss. Big icy wolf man with a sword. What more do you want? Skull, the first challenger. Wolf who chases the beginning. He does some big arcs and things, and he's very hard to evade and avoid. Especially if you only have so many dodges. That being said, this ability to move this quickly is doing me wonders. Alright, okay, okay. Whoops. Oh, I've never seen this before! I've never gotten this far! I've never gotten this far! I've never gotten this far! What the hell? Oh my god! Of course I finally do it when I'm sharing it. Of course I do. Oh hey, a health potion. Let's activate his soul. Cool. I get to upgrade something. What the heck? What the heck? What the heck? Why not? Oh my god. Alright. So in that case, since we're recording, let's take the first look that I've ever had at the next region. Oh my, okay. Let's get some healing. Look at these constellations and the flowers. This area is called Fragment of the Night Sky. It really is. Look at this. Alright, so fair warning, I don't know what kind of enemies are here. I'm going to assume no spiders, but we shall see. So let's go to a merchant first, just to see what can be gotten. Okay. What is in your shop? So Essence of Dusk, fire 2 Dusk Shards that deal dark damage each time you attack an enemy for 5 seconds. Cool, okay. Healing amount is increased by 28%. 30% of excess healing is converted into a barrier. Oh, okay. Okay. I think I kind of want that on one of my healing things. I can afford exactly one thing. And I think I want the healing. So we are going to move a few things around. Let's put it on the thing that already has a little bit of regen. And let's keep moving. I like the music here. I could maybe afford one thing at the well. Let's go to the well. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, orbs and little alien guys. They move fast. Okay. Okay. What an interesting area. Look at these guys. So, the hunters are starting to advance behind us. I think we can visit one more place before we go to the merchant in order to potentially afford more. I can afford nothing except chipped essence of lethality. Damage against enemies with 70% or more health is increased. Sure. Just need to open more with that one. Alright, guidance or ominous presence? Let's go ominous presence right now. Ooh, I keep running into those beams. I am going to die here. Oh dear. Oh no. That's what that does, huh? Somehow I lived, but I don't expect that to last much longer. Oh good, a Shrine of Guidance. If I can live long enough to get to it, then we've got a chance. I lived! I heckin' lived! You know what? I've got all sorts of essences now. Wow, okay. We're moving. We are moving. We are moving. We are not moving. We are not moving. Oh. I seem to have gotten myself stuck. Apparently I can dash myself off the ledge. Alright. Well, that's interesting. What a way to go. Never even got to the boss of this one. However, you get the whole stat scene, and, yeah. Let's continue and get back and see what we unlocked, because that gives us a 4th character. Achievement unlocked, Frozen Heart. Defeat King of the Snowy Mountains for the first time. New essence unlocked. Reach Dream of the Night Sky, new Traveler. So, let's go ahead and just take a look at who there is. So this, if I'm assuming correctly, should be Dark. Vesper, Cruel Inquisitor of the Order of the Sacred Flame. Block enemies in melee range, deals high damage. Alright. So, he's going into the rapids and is wanting to strike down the false god of it, but somehow is alone now. Alright. So that is an entire new set of things. And for some reason, his doesn't seem to have any upgrades on his personal one. That being said, the general ones of life, destruction, and imagination seem to be shared. Every upgrade on these 3 trees is available no matter what character you play. At least as far as I've noticed. So for example, if I go into life, I can do a fortitude enhancement on everybody, or a chance of a health potion being increased. I think let's give everybody a chance of a health potion. You have to hit apply in the corner, covered by my character right now, in order to make it lock in. So you can just kind of click on things and see how they go, but yeah. Get attack damage up, we can get ability power increased, and you can move on to the other ones once these base ones are done, so attack power is always good. Alright, so that is Shape of Dreams, much further and much longer than I expected it to go, because I didn't think I'd get past the second boss, but there you have it, at least with this one character. So if that seems kind of fun, kind of interesting as a roguelike to you, know that this is out there. It is available as demo right now, and you can check it out yourself, do a few runs, see if you like the feel. There's some things that I like about it, enough to maybe poke at it casually. I'm not sure that it's something that I would want to play, like, intensely, but it does have a very smooth sort of combat feel. And I like a lot of the very nice feeling settings and stuff. It looks like and it feels like a lot of care and attention and love has gone into this. And you know, even if it's not generally and usually my cup of tea, I can really appreciate that. So, leaving it there, you have a good one. Bye.